You did, back to back, you did two Tarek McMillan projects, Waiting for Exhale and How Stella Got Her Groove Back. I will never forget, as a cinephile, seeing Waiting to Exhale and seeing two successful, beautiful African-American women just sitting around in the living room talking about their issues and problems. And they're sharing the screen. I'm going, I have never seen this in my life. You know, can you tell us about making it and when you read the script that?
Oh, I remember it was after Strange Days and Vampire in Brooklyn, incredibly long shoot, and I was so tired, but he was, I mean, literally Waiting to Exhale. You have 4 days and then head to Scottsdale, Arizona. And it's as if, well, I can do this because I know Bernadine. I know this woman. I know this sisterhood. So that's the blessing of it. You know, I'm familiar with it. And the way that it was shot, Forrest Whitaker was our director, his directorial debut there. And we had moments where we were all four together, the four ladies together, and then basically each one had their story to tell. So you got a little bit of a break.
You ladies were aware that we're breaking ground here.
Well, I knew when I lived in New York, I saw everyone on the subway, on the A train, reading that book. So I thought, this is going to be successful. I mean, because it already had an incredible audience. I mean, I saw it on the streets, but we had never seen characters on film like this, and then to see four strong Black women, compelling, you know, interesting, loving, hopeful in various situations, you know, leaving their husband, being left, married men, thinking that life is over, you know. Yeah.
Bernadine is, when I mentioned in my introduction that in other hands it could have gone into camp. It is such a risky performance. Were you ever concerned about calibrating the performance, not going too far, keeping it contained, etc.? No, you just went for it.
I just went for it. Especially in that closet, you know, in that closet, you know, and just start. Sometimes you're just filled with her anger, you know. So some of that, you know, some of those lines were like, get your shit, where I just improvised, just in the moment. I was the background to your foreground, you know. And I heard a friend of mine used to say that. I was like, ooh, I like that. If I could use that somewhere. And it was like, this is the perfect place. Bernadine was the background to his foreground, you know. So just throw that little spice in there.
Then you went on to do How Stella Got Her Groove Back. You know, tell us about working on that project. You know, he's a 40-plus successful, again, woman that's going after a younger man.
Yeah, and I felt pretty successful at that time. That was that, you know, I really did. I even got to weigh in on who I wanted to be my Winston Shakespeare. You know, there guys came, as I had done screen tests to be chosen this time, screen tests for the men, and then I got to pick which one. Let's see. Who would the ladies like? Now, here we have this trained one with this British accent, but here's some muscles, and so we landed on Tay, you know.
There's two things I wanted to ask you. Again, you're working with Ruthie Carter. I love that you're wearing so much pink in this. You know, tell us about how you and Ruthie Carter arrived to.
I know there was, you know, some controversy about this pink workout suit run. The director just thought it was just too Pepto-Bismol, or it was just too much. And I remember Courtney, I had a one-day honeymoon. I was like, the schedule kept moving, and it kept chasing my wedding date. I kept moving that around, and finally I just let it stick. And I was like, and we were filming. I was like, I need this day off to get married, and can I please have the day after? So literally a one day. He came down there, and we were going through this whole pink thing we were going to wear, and he said, let a girl wear pink. And so the director did. So, well, all right.
And I want to talk about Bozeman and Lehman. This is Athol Fugard, one of the greatest playwrights. Again, you've worked with August Wilson.
South African playwright, yeah.
South African, and he deals with racism and apartheid, and directed by John Barry.
John Barry, who had directed the play on Broadway like 35 years previous with Ruby Dee and James Earl Jones and Zakes Mokai.
And also, he had been blacklisted in Hollywood by, the McCarthy era.
Right,
and
and
he had moved to Europe.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and always wanted to do a film about it. And we did this little independent film, Pathé, came up with the money, and we went to South Africa. My second time in South Africa. I went with Artists for Free South Africa just before the elections, the first democratic elections. We went there for a week to let them know, your vote is private, your vote is your own. So we went around. It was a whirlwind. But this was my second time back, and we were thrilled. We were literally in dirt and dust and filming. It was crazy. And then we go to our little hotel and look at Table Mountain. But it really was about, disenfranchisement. Disenfranchisement, and the only power that this man with nothing has is this violent power that he exerts over his woman, his most precious resource. And it's, it's sort of like the stronger. Who's the stronger? Is he or is she? And she flips it on him.
Let's watch the next set of clips. It's Music of the Heart, which again directed by Wes Craven and co-starring Meryl Streep, and then Aquila and the Bee, co-starring again with the great Larry Fishburne and Keke Palmer as a very young girl.